This is the LG G6, and honestly, I think it's really good. I mean, look, it's got this huge, tall screen. It's got a couple of cameras on the back, so you know what? I'm gonna give it an award. Congratulations, LG. You get a participation award. Now, I know this seems really mean, but I don't mean it to be mean, and let me explain why. Now, the LG G6 is the first of the major 2017 flagship phones. And to make it, LG did the right thing by making a huge, big, tall screen on it. It is 18:9 aspect ratio, so it's twice as tall as it is wide. And that offers a bunch of interesting software opportunities, which we can get into. But the basics of this screen are just really good. It's bright, it has Dolby HDR if you care about that sort of thing. But more importantly to me is the bezels are really, really small, and the screen is flat, which means you're not gonna get rogue touches from like you might get on a Galaxy S7 or an S8 where it wraps around the side. Bottom line, LG just did a really good job making a really big, beautiful screen the centerpiece of this phone. So let's talk about the rest of the hardware of this phone. And what you need to know is it's all about glass. It's a glass back, it's a glass front. It's actually 3 different kinds of Gorilla Glass on it. And it looks fine. I did get a tiny hairline crack on the back, but I don't think that'll happen for most people. I'm just really hard on phone hardware, I guess. The power button is here on the back. It's a little bit small. It's the same thing as the fingerprint sensor, and I kind of don't like it. It's a little bit fiddly. I never know if I'm turning the phone on or off. It just takes a while to get used to because LG phones act a little bit differently than other phones. But for me, the bottom line is this is just really simple, handsome hardware, nothing crazy about it. I think it looks good. I think it's really unassuming and nice. And also, honestly, it's a little bit unassuming on the inside too. The processor is a Snapdragon 821, which yes, isn't the latest and greatest processor, but it's plenty fast. I've never had any real problems with it. I think you'll be happy with it. It's got 4 gigs of RAM, sure, and it's only got 32 gigs of storage in the US, but it is expandable via micro SD card. The other thing to know is that the battery inside this is 3,300 milliamps, which should be enough. It's not crazy, but nobody wants crazy stuff now because that might make the phone explode. But I have found that I'm having a hard time getting through a full day with this thing. Now, I do use phones a lot, so it might be that you will be fine, but I'm finding that in the afternoon, I do need to check and see how I'm doing. The good news is that it supports Qualcomm Quick Charge over USB-C, and in the US it has wireless charging, so you can top up when you need to. So if there's one place where you would expect LG to bring the gimmicks, it would be in the camera. And yep, there are 2 cameras here, but LG actually held itself back a little bit. Here's what you need to know. They're both 13 megapixel sensors, so you don't get a huge quality difference when you switch between them. One is normal and one is 125-degree wide angle. I don't love the wide angle look. I don't like the distortion that you get sometimes, but if it's your thing, it might be fine. My favorite feature is actually not the cameras, it's this tall screen. They've got an app that lets you take Instagram photos and preview them right away or build these neat little layouts. But what you should really care about is the quality. And the quality is pretty good, but not mind-blowing. It works okay in low light, it's got optical image stabilization, but I haven't had one of those pictures that's like, oh my God, I can't believe I took this picture with a phone moments. And if this thing is gonna compete with the Google Pixel and the Galaxy S8 and the iPhone 7, it really needs a standout feature, and the cameras are not that standout feature. And speaking of things that don't stand out, I really don't like LG's software. It's called LG UX 6.0, and it is more toned down than what we used to get from LG, but it still just feels kind of junky. LG does this thing where they want to put everything on the home screen without an app drawer. It does this ugly stretching thing when you scroll over to the edge of the home screen. It actually hides a bunch of settings, which normally I would like, but there are a bunch of settings that you need, like putting the little notification button down here by the main row since you can't swipe down on the power button, or turning on knock-on so that you can activate the home screen just by tapping the screen. That's stuff that you need in order to make an LG phone work, and it's buried. In general, I'm just not impressed, and it just feels like LG is still skinning phones for skinning's sake, and I wish they'd stop. Oh, and one more thing, this phone, you're probably gonna buy it from carriers, and depending on which carrier you buy it from, you're gonna get the standard payload of crapware. Okay, so after all that, let's talk about that joke I made at the top, the participation award. It's really mean, but listen, there are only a few top-tier companies that deserve your attention right now when it comes to flagship phones. Samsung, Apple, Google, and now LG. Just getting on that short list is a really big accomplishment, and LG should feel proud. But the thing is, With phones like the S8 about to come out and the Google Pixel already there, LG needs something that makes it really stand out from the pack, and I just don't see that here. This is a pretty good phone, but for 700 bucks or so, you deserve something better than pretty good. Like, why do I have Farm Hero Saga? Do you want Panda Pop? I don't want Panda Pop. Why do pandas need to pop in the first place? Pandas shouldn't pop. That's like scary and gross. They should just like be pandas and eat eucalyptus. They shouldn't explode on your phone. Also, juice jam? Really? Pick one. It's either juice and you drink it or it's jam and you put it on toast. You don't want both. Juice jam.